Grape nuts is natural wheat and barley, fortified with vitamins.
Tastes nutty, you.
Crunchy, too.
Are you ready to take a delicious trip down memory lane? Today we're diving into a treasure trove of forgotten snacks that'll have baby boomers reminiscing about the good old days. So grab a seat and get ready to indulge in some nostalgia-packed treats. Number 25, Chippos. Hey, these crosshatch chips were doing Tato Wilds 2 decades earlier and not being so braggy about it. In the 1970s and 80s, General Mills sold Chippos, a crunchy waffle-shaped chip that boasted of being less greasy and oily than other chips, something it tried to prove with a napkin blot test in the commercials. However, the chips did come under some criticism in 1969, when there were attempts to stop them calling the snack a potato chip. In fact, Chippos were made from potatoes cooked, mashed, and dehydrated, resulting in potato granules which are later moistened, rolled out, cut into pieces, and fried. They managed to keep the name, but were discontinued in the 80s. Number 24, Necco. Necco wafers are a sugar-based candy, sold in rolls of various flavor-thin discs. First produced in 1847, they became the namesake and core product of the now defunct New England Confectionery Company, or Necco, which operated near Boston, Massachusetts. Production of the candy was suspended in July 2018 when Necco went into bankruptcy, but returned in May 2020 after the purchase of the brand and production equipment by the Spangler Candy Company. Each roll of Necco wafers contained 8 flavors: lemon-colored yellow, lime-colored green, orange-colored orange, clove-colored purple, cinnamon-colored white, wintergreen-colored pink, licorice-colored black, and chocolate-colored brown. The ingredients in Necco wafers are sugar, corn syrup, gelatin, gums, colorings, and other flavors. Necco wafers were first introduced in 1847 and have been a beloved candy for generations. These colorful round wafers are made of sugar and flavoring and come in a variety of flavors including lemon, lime, orange, clove, and chocolate. Boomers likely remember these candies from their childhoods, as they were a popular treat for school lunches and road trips. Number 23, Candy Buttons. Remember candy buttons? Also known as candy dots. These are small, button-shaped candies that you peel off a strip of paper. For anyone who grew up around the 70s or 80s, candy buttons were a staple. Just looking at a photo of them, these tiny, colorful, and perfectly arranged candies brings back memories. Did you ever play doctor with these and use candy buttons as medicine? Each color was a different cure. The best part about this candy, aside from the fact that peeling the buttons from the paper is so satisfying, is that there is nothing else like it. As far as we know, it's the only peelable candy out there.
All right, we have our long piece of paper covered in just dozens of these dots, and now we have to let them dry for a while. The tops of them have actually already started to dry pretty well.
And that made us wonder, how did they come up with such a unique idea? Candy buttons were created in the 1930s by Cumberland Valley Company, a company based out of New York. They had just invented a machine that would produce tiny dots of flavored sugar and arrange them on a strip of paper. It was pretty revolutionary at the time. And as for why this machine was invented, no one really knows. It is generally believed that the man behind the concept was George Theophile Dibb. He must have thought that kids and adults would love them, and he was right. In the late 1970s, the Cumberland Valley Company sold candy buttons to Necco, so the buttons we remember were likely manufactured by them, the same company that created a lot of our favorite treats. Number 22, Banana Flips. The old-fashioned banana flips were individually packaged snack cakes that gained popularity during the 60s and 70s, but were discontinued at the turn of the century. Several makers had versions of banana flip snack cakes, which were also known as banana dreams. Banana flips looked like a sponge cake taco, a banana cake shell with creamy white fluffing banana filling. This banana snack cake was also known for its finger-licking mess factor. Hostess, Dolly Madison, and Nichols Bakery produced various versions of banana flip snack cakes throughout the years. The latter resurrected the beloved banana flip after being gone for more than a decade, but only briefly and in a limited distribution area. Number 21, Space Food Sticks. Like Tang, Space Food Sticks, which are akin to today's energy bars, go down in NASA's Space Food Hall of Fame. Originally, Pillsbury created the crumb-free space sticks for astronauts, but Earthlings got a taste too, with flavors like chocolate malt, caramel, or orange hitting the supermarket shelves. Space Food Sticks, 3 words that evoke images of the weird, brown bar that launched in Australia in 1971, before launching millions of delighted grins the land over. Reminiscent of the protein bars from Snowpiercer with a hint of Soylent Green, Space Food Sticks as a confection were born of the 1960s space race, a time when the future was now and the Jetsons ruled. Marketed and patented by creators Pillsbury as essentially the first protein bar, though a cursory glance at the label will tell you they're far from a health food. Space Food Sticks were a frozen, balanced energy snack in rod form containing nutritionally balanced amounts of carbohydrate, fat, and protein, with the two primary ingredients listed as glucose and corn syrup. That was clearly a wild time to be in advertising. But did you know that Space Food Sticks isn't just a clever name, and that they actually have their roots at NASA? The Pillsbury Company's chief food technologist, Howard Bauman, and his team were instrumental in creating the first solid food consumed by a NASA astronaut. Small food cubes eaten by Scott Carpenter on board Aurora 7 in 1962. Space food cubes were followed by other space-friendly foods from Pillsbury's engineers, like non-crumbly cake, relish that could be served in slices, and shelf-stable meat, produced in Australia from 1971 until 2014, plus a brief revival in 2019 to mark 50 years since the moon landing, in caramel and chocolate flavors. Folks either loved or loathed these treats. Space Food Sticks may have been a food of the future, but many are happy to leave them in the past. Number 20. Puffa Puffa Rice. Puffa Puffa Rice was a brand of breakfast cereal produced by the Kellogg Company. Somewhere between puffed wheat and Rice Krispies, the product was a form of puffed rice with a sweet, smooth texture and flavored with brown sugar. In its first years, the cereal was presented with a definite Hawaiian or Polynesian theme. Island volcanoes, ocean scenes, and palm fronds adorned various versions of the cereal box. When the cereal was first announced in ads, the announcer exclaimed, "Nui Nui" from Kellogg's instead of "Nu Nu." Around 1972, Kellogg's tried to promote the cereal from a smiling train having the title Puffa Puffa Rice, puffing out of the train's steam engine.
Nui Nui from Kellogg's. New Kellogg's Puffa Puffa Rice.
Puffa Puffa Rice figures prominently in Alan Ayckbourn's play Table Manners, which is a part of his Norman conquests. Puffa Puffa Rice is black. In the U.S., Puffa Puffa Rice was abruptly phased out during 1975. Number 19. Pink Panther Flakes. Pink Panther, the cartoon television show, ran from 1969 to 1980. Pink Panther the cereal was in production from 1973 to 1980, finding no market popularity until after the end of the show. Even though the Pink Panther would go on to become an advertising icon, meaning Owens Corning logged over 40 years with the MGM-owned critter, the cereal would never be seen again. While it wasn't rare for a TV tie-in cereal to be discontinued once the show it was based on ended, it is rare for the character it is based on to continue to exist in pop culture without a cereal. Everyone knows who the Pink Panther is, a giant diamond the Phantom wants to steal, before Peter Sellers gets to him accidentally. Pink Panther, the cereal, contained no jewels. Instead, it contained cornflakes doused in a pink coating. This pink coating immediately turned the milk pink as it dissolved off the flakes. In effect, it was cornflakes in strawberry milk. Even though there was no strawberry, it's just our mind playing tricks on us, like thinking Skittles taste different based on color. Regardless, if you like cornflakes and you were a kid who watched Pink Panther, you liked this cereal because it added sugar to the mix. If you liked neither, then you have never begged your mom to buy it. Post didn't have to go hard with advertising as it was on TV, but the 1980s did introduce a slew of cartoon-related cereals, which would have most likely knocked Pink Panther off the shelves eventually. Number 18. Fizzies. Once upon a time in the 50s and 60s, there was a popular drink tablet that fizzed when placed in water. Fizzies were invented by the Emerson Drug Company. The idea derived from scientists working with chemical formulas similar to bromo seltzer and wondering if a fun, fruit-flavored drink could be developed the same way. Wouldn't it be grand if we could drop a tablet in a glass of water and have an instant soda pop? After long hard work, they finally figured out how to combine the right combinations of fruit flavoring, sweetener, citric acid, and sodium bicarbonate, a substance that is much like baking soda, into a magical tablet that when dropped into water, turned water into an instant sparkling effervescent fruit drink. Fizzies were made in grape, cherry, orange, punch, berry, lemon lime, and root beer flavors, and 8 tablets cost 19 cents. Unfortunately, Fizzies contained the sugar substitute cyclamate. In 1968, the FDA banned the use of cyclamates, citing research showing that cyclamates caused cancer in laboratory animals, and the company went out of business. They returned in the mid-1990s containing NutraSweet, a substitute 200 times sweeter than sugar. A new company purchased the formula and reintroduced them to the market in 1995. It was short-lived because the company went out of business and all of the inventory was gone by late 2001. Number 17. Reggie Bar. The Yankees' home opener of the 1978 season on April 13th against the Chicago White Sox featured a new product, the Reggie Bar. In 1976, while playing in Baltimore, Jackson had said, "If I played in New York, they'd have a candy bar named after me." As a tribute to legendary Yankees player Reggie Jackson, the Standard Brands company responded with a circular bar of peanuts dipped in caramel and covered in chocolate, a confection which was originally named the Wayne Bun, as it was made in Fort Wayne, Indiana. If it sounds a lot like a Baby Ruth, it was.
Necco owns Necco wafers, known for their unusually long shelf life and bland flavor. In March, the CEO warned the company could shut down if it doesn't find a buyer.
But Baby Ruths aren't named after famed baseball player Babe Ruth. The Reggie bars were handed to fans as they walked into Yankee Stadium. Jackson hit a home run, and when he returned to right field the next inning, fans began throwing the Reggie bars on the field in celebration. This milk chocolate bar with peanuts and caramel had a short run from 1976 to 1982. It did make a brief comeback in the 1990s, according to Bon Appetit. Number 16. Concentrate. Kellogg's Concentrate proves that even the healthier, less flashy cereals of days gone by have their fans, too. It's in the top 10 of Mr. Breakfast's all-time greatest cereals. Introduced in 1959, it was on store shelves into the 70s and aimed to provide a ton of vitamins and nutrients in every bite. The tiny flakes expanded so much in milk that a serving amounted to only a couple of tablespoons. This new food is 40% high-quality protein, the kind you get in milk, meat, and eggs, and it also contains 11 important vitamins and minerals. Although high in the nutrients we need most, it is low in the things we ordinarily get plenty of, such as fats. In fact, it is so nutritious, it might well be termed diet insurance. By this, we mean that this new food could give wives and mothers a high degree of assurance that, whatever else the family eats during the day, everyone will get nutritive values from this food that are essential to active, vigorous, good health. This new food is nutritionally ideal for fortifying almost any other food in our diet. And in the form of crisp, tiny flakes, this is easy to do. Whether you use it in meat or fish loaves or patties, waffles, etc. Sprinkle it on a casserole, soups, salads, vegetables, and desserts, or add it to many other favorite dishes. Despite not being colorful, sugary, and obviously targeted to kids, the comments we have received about the vintage cereal prove how much people love the stuff. Still, the cereal giant stopped making Concentrate decades ago. The last mention of it being for sale that we could find was from 1981. Number 15. Jell-O Pudding Pops. While they debuted in the 1970s, Jell-O Pudding Pops hit peak popularity in the 1980s. A box of pudding pops came in flavors like chocolate, vanilla, and swirled. If you're really craving a pudding pop, and a fudgesicle doesn't come close enough for you, there are pudding pop molds so you can make your own. The Jell-O Pudding Pop was basically a pudding popsicle, more rounded and richer in taste than a fudgesicle and as delicious as it sounds. Introduced as the goodness of real Jell-O pudding frozen on a stick, it proved hugely popular, selling $100 million worth in its first year. Today, however, the Jell-O Pudding Pop is more absent than its erstwhile spokesman, Bill Crosby. Jell-O stopped making their pudding pops in 2004. Why did they quit making Jell-O Pudding Pops? Now that's a more complicated answer. After all, these desserts were popular and delicious. Unlike some weird food trends like New Coke or those Lay's Wow chips made with Olestra, Jell-O Pudding Pops were beloved by customers. So what happened? It turns out that part of the problem was with, as Tasting Table outlines, Jell-O was not a frozen foods manufacturer, and it proved prohibitively expensive to keep producing and storing this iced treat. Instead, the company licensed the brand name to Popsicle in 2004. But Popsicle's version had a different shape and flavor, lacking the je ne sais quoi that made the pop such a sensation. Popsicle stopped making them around 2010 due to a lack of demand, and that was the end of the store-bought pudding pops forever. Yes, sadly, now they're extinct. But if you're despairing knowing that you'll never have the chance to enjoy this treat again, fear not. There is an officially sanctioned recipe online that you can use to recreate the experience. All you need to do is combine instant pudding mix and milk and freeze in a popsicle mold. Look, it's not rocket science, but that doesn't mean it's not delicious. Bon appetit. Number 14. Onion Nuggets. Ancient relics. Okay, a promotional photo on a Tumblr page revealed that McDonald's once served onion nuggets in the 1970s. The nuggets looked like a golden fried onion ring, but you guessed it, it's in the shape of a chicken nugget. The onion nuggets were a cross between onion rings and McNuggets. McDonald's attempted selling onion nuggets to please vegetarians in 1975 before selling the chicken McNuggets. The onion nuggets were unsuccessful though, since the customers could not be swayed by the more traditional onion ring variety. Also, McDonald's started selling the chicken nuggets weeks later. It was introduced in 1975 and discontinued in 1984. The onion nuggets were later recreated by a mythical kitchen. Number 13. Daddy Crisp Potato Chips. In the 1960s and 70s, Daddy Crisp boasted about two things. One, they were audibly crunchier than your average chip, and two, they were entirely natural. The bag read, the only one thing to start when you're making real potato chips. You got it, real potatoes. The Daddy Crisps promise. We promise Daddy Crisps is 100% natural. There's no preservatives added, nothing artificial. We promise. Daddy Crisps is made from the finest fresh potatoes, cooked in vegetable oil and sealed airtight while they're still warm. You can't buy a fresher potato chip than Daddy Crisps. We promise. For several reasons, you will not see a comeback of this brand. Most of all, because it used the oily tagline, "Love your daddy." Number 12. Oompas. Oompas, now discontinued, were candy produced under the Willy Wonka brand name. They were labeled as peanut butter Oompas. The candy produced from 1971 to 1983 was similar to today's Reese's Pieces and peanut butter M&Ms, though bigger. Under the canning coating was a candy disc of 1/2 peanut butter, 1/2 chocolate. In 1980, they were briefly available in a chocolate and strawberry instead of peanut butter variety. In 2001, Wonka, then a Nestle subsidiary, revived the brand name for a chewy Skittles-like candy that came in a variety of fruit flavors: green apple, cherry, lemon, orange grape, and strawberry. These were simply labeled Oompas. The UK version had a different, more eccentric flavor variety: jam donut, rhubarb and custard, snozzberry, meaning mixed fruit, popcorn, caterpillar or cucumber, and mashed potato. They were named after the Oompa Loompas from the Roald Dahl's children's book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, from which the Wonka Company takes its name. Number 11. Space Dust. Playing off the success of Pop Rocks, General Mills released a Space Dust candy in 1976 that was basically a ground-up, powdery version of the candy, but there was one problem. Parents were concerned about the powdery texture of Space Dust, and the name was too similar to illegal drugs, like Angel Dust, also known as PCP. The candy was rebranded as Cosmic Candy, and in an open letter to parents, which is preserved on the Gone But Not Forgotten Groceries website, the candy's investor assured parents the candy is safe. I have brought a lot of fun into the world with this candy, I guess, but I am writing this letter because I want to assure you that the product is a safe one, wrote the candy's inventor, Bill Mitchell. Despite the name change, the candy eventually fizzled out.
New cheese and chips.
There's nacho and cheddar. Who knows which you'll like better?
New cheese and chips from Keebler.
It's chunk of cheddar cheese in a chip.
Number 10. Oh Boise's. Oh Boise's are oh boisterous, the jingle proclaimed, upping the vocabulary level of the average commercial break. Another snack from the Keebler Company, Oh Boise's are probably best remembered for the commercial, even with the Keebler elves singing about how oh boisterous the chips were. The baked potato chips came in 3 flavors: original, barbecue, and sour cream and onion, and had a big fan base in the 1970s, but were later discontinued. It seems there's still major love out there for Oh Boise, though, as Keebler replied to requests to reinstate the brand in 2017 on Twitter, writing, "Thanks for your request to see Oh Boise's back on store shelves in the future. We love hearing from our fans." Number 9. Waffelos. One trip down memory lane, courtesy of an old Waffelos commercial, may have you pining for this syrup-flavored Ralston creation, which debuted in 1979 and lingered until the mid-1980s. Waffelo Bill and his horse were pretty adorable, but fans say there was nothing quite like the maple butter flavor of Waffelos, which also managed to stay crunchy in milk. The cereal was described on the box as a sweetened cereal with artificial maple syrup flavor. A blueberry version of the cereal was also available. And let's not forget the quirky characters from the Waffelos commercials. Waffelo Bill, a cowboy with a huge mustache, and his sensible horse. Bill would round up blueberry critters with his lasso for the blueberry version, and rumor had it he even rounded up another critter called a Waffelo to make the maple flavor variety.
The offer for the free cereals on the side here, you had to buy a box of each of these cereals, Cookie Crisp, Waffelos, and Dinky Donuts, and then you could receive a
Number 8. Buckwheats. Pass the Buckwheats. This General Mills offering was a staple on breakfast tables in the 1970s and early 1980s. It's among the healthier cereals we're still pining for. The cereal consisted of toasted wheat flakes, originally made with buckwheat, with a sweet maple flavor glaze baked onto them. According to the 1970s cereal boxes, buckwheat cereal was highly nutritious and contained 100% of the minimum daily requirements for vitamins and iron. After several years in production, General Mills replaced the maple glaze with a honey-flavored glaze. An unpopular change. Sales fail, and General Mills discontinued production of the cereal around 1983. The new Buckwheats were said to taste like a sweet and sticky bowl of Wheaties. Most consumers did not like the change. Interestingly, in 1974, a catchy little song entitled "Feelin' Like $1,000,000" was produced for Buckwheats by New York City composer Steve Carman. It added to the cereal's charm. Number 7. Hostess grape, orange, and cherry potato chips. Blame Canada. North of the border, Hostess is a major player in the chip game. In the 1970s, briefly, the company boldly launched fruit flavors, which was akin to dumping a packet of Kool-Aid in your bag. Unsurprisingly, they flopped, but some still claim to be haunted by the aftertaste. Hostess was formed in 1935 when Edgar Snyder began cooking chips on his mother's kitchen stove in Breslau, Ontario, outside Kitchener, Ontario. Potato chips remained a fairly small part of the snack food market until the 1950s. when snack foods in general became more widely available. In 1955, Snyder sold his company to E.W. Vanstone, who expanded the company greatly before selling his interest to General Foods in 1959. Starting in 1981, the chips had new mascots known as the Munchies that were used for advertisements and appeared on the chip packaging. The Munchies were designed and created by Richard Sue, a Canadian artist. The Munchies were three friendly, goblin-like creatures colored red, orange, and yellow. Hostess potato chips were discontinued in 2006 when Lay's bought out the company. Since then, countless chip lovers have been left longing for their favorite snack. The discontinuation not only took away an iconic product, but also erased a piece of culinary history that was loved by millions. There's no denying the popularity and impact these chips had on consumers. In its prime, Hostess was one of Canada's top-selling potato chip brands with loyal fans across the country and beyond.
It's the crunch. Great cheese flavor. How about the taco flavor? Wow, nice and spicy. Really irresistible.
Number 6. Baron von Redberry. Baron von Redberry was a cereal created by General Mills around 1972 that featured a World War I-era German pilot, presumably modeled on Red Baron, Manfred Albrecht Freiherr von Richthofen. The cereal itself consisted of berry-flavored oat cereal with sweet berry marshmallows and tasted strongly of fruit punch. Baron von Redberry was the nemesis of Sir Grapefellow, mascot of another General Mills cereal brand. In the vein of the cereal rivalries, Quisp and Quake and Count Chocula and Frankenberry bickering over which one was better, Redberry would proclaim, "Baron von Redberry is der berry goodest," and Grapefellow would counter, "Sir Grapefellow is the grapest." Number 5. Giggles Cookies. Giggles cookies were made by Nabisco in the 1980s. They were sandwich cookies made with chocolate or vanilla outsides and 2 types of cream in the middle. They were called Giggles because the outside cookies had holes in the shapes of smiley faces. Giggles were a slightly different take on a British biscuit, meaning a cookie, called Happy Faces. The American Giggles cookie contained 2 kinds of cream filling. Happy Faces were shortbread sandwich cookies filled with raspberry, jam, and cream. Happy Faces came in 5 different face designs with holes where the eyes and mouth would be, and a stamp for the nose. Giggles cookies had a similar design with just 1 face option and holes for the eyes and smile. Debuted in 1980 and discontinued in 1990.
Maybe it's only 2 different faces, but there's different faces, for sure. They look like, kind of like a jammy dodger, but instead of jammy dodgers, you've got...
Number 4. Jell-O Salads. A lime Jell-O mold, the center filled with a seafood salad. While these recipes aren't officially discontinued, meaning retro recipes are still out there, you're probably not likely to see a bright green Jell-O salad at potlucks or parties in this decade. Taking liberty with the definition of salad, gelatin molds were all the rage in the 1970s. One Jell-O salad that seemed to stand the test of time, though, is the strawberry pretzel salad. And for Jell-O's next trick, one mix separating into 3 layers. Jell-O 1, 2, 3 came in various flavors, like mixed berry, strawberry, or orange. The 3-in-1 dessert has the texture of, yes, Jell-O, but also pudding and mousse. While you can't get the packet anymore, Kraft Foods has a recipe that recreates this dessert with a Jell-O packet and Cool Whip. Number 3. Pizza Spins. In 1968, General Mills debuted these wheel-shaped pizza crisps that tasted like tomato, pepper, cheese, and other spices. According to a 1968 press release, studies showed that pizza was the taste of the 1960s. To be in line with this apparent trend, Pizza Spins contained many of the same ingredients found in a real big boy pizza. Parmesan cheese, tomatoes, pizza spices, and pepper, to give Pizza Spins an authentic Italian pizza taste. The back of the original box promised all the true deliciousness of pizza flavor in a munchy, crunchy, mouth-sized snack. As an ode to the Italian flag, the Pizza Spins box featured green and white and red tones in addition to photos of pizza and the Spins snacks. To ensure Pizza Spins stayed crisp and crunchy, each package included a reclosable inner foil lining. In the 1960s, Pizza Spins weren't the only product in the snack aisle with our G on the box. Bugles were actually our first uniquely shaped snack, followed by Oniums, potato crisps, whistles, and daisies. The snack was discontinued around 1975 according to General Mills. While Pizza Spins are long gone, their devoted fans have shown us that they are certainly not forgotten.
I've never really been blindfolded, so it's a new experience for me. But I think I'm excited about what comes next. Hey, my name's Emerald.
Number 2. Whoppers. Whoppers are a malted milk ball candy that was first introduced in the 1940s. These candies were a favorite among boomers in the 50s and 60s and are still enjoyed today. Whoppers have a crunchy, malted center that is coated in a chocolate shell, making them a satisfying treat for those with a sweet tooth. In conclusion, these candies hold a special place in the hearts of baby boomers, reminding them of a simpler time in their childhood. These treats are often enjoyed at penny candy stores, movie theaters, and during Halloween trick-or-treating. While some of these candies may be less popular today, they remain beloved by those who grew up with them. Whether you are a boomer reminiscing about your childhood or a younger generation discovering these classic candies for the first time, they are sure to bring a smile to your face and a sweetness to your day. Number 1. Danish Go-Rounds. Introduced by Kellogg's in 1968, Danish Go-Rounds grew out of the success of Pop-Tart. Advertised as the toaster pastry all grown up, the product was not too dissimilar from a Pop-Tart, with various fruit fillings being extruded into a circular pastry, wound around itself like a paperclip, and topped with icing. Flavors included strawberry, blueberry, and cinnamon. Though marketed as a quick alternative to a Danish pastry that could be served at coffee clutches or gatherings where women visit and drink coffee together, they never caught on, partly because they tend to fall apart in their packaging. By 1977, Danish Go-Rounds were replaced by a similar product called Danish Rings. Instead of the fruit filling being tucked into the pastry dough and then coiled, the shape was created by a stamp impressed into the oval pastry. Sadly, these were also discontinued in the 1980s. And there you have it, folks. 25 forgotten snacks that only baby boomers will remember. Did any of these treats trigger sweet memories for you? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more nostalgia. Until next time, stay tuned.